Hi, this is Mike Monarch. I'm a Senior Program Manager on the Office 365 team. In this tutorial, I will show you how to move your domain from Office Live to Office 365. There are several steps involved in transitioning from Office Live to Office 365. In this tutorial, we will focus on moving your domain. Each of these steps is documented in the Office Live Self-Transition Guide that is available for download from within your Office Live account. If you haven't already downloaded the transition guide, I'll show you where to get it once we start the tutorial. I recommend going through the transition in the order shown here, making sure that moving your domain is the last step that you perform. This tutorial assumes that you have purchased your domain from Office Live and that you've already completed the previous steps in the transition guide. If you purchased your domain from another provider, the steps for moving it to Office 365 will be different from what we discuss in this tutorial. As a general overview of this process, we'll start by removing the domain from Office Live. We'll then set up your account with Melbourne IT. Melbourne IT is the domain registrar we partnered with to provide you with your domain. As part of this transition, you will establish a billing relationship with Melbourne IT for your domain. This means that when it's time to renew your domain, you will receive a bill directly from Melbourne IT and not from Microsoft like you do today. I'll also show you how to add your domain to Office 365, update users, and connect your domain to your Office 365 hosted website. Okay, let's get started. When you first sign into your Office Live account, you're shown an announcement about Office Live being discontinued. This announcement includes a link to download the self-transition guide, shown right here. When you click that link, it'll download a PDF file that includes details on how to transition from Office Live to Office 365. I recommend reading through that doc. There's a lot of helpful information in there to help you get started. Also included on this page is a link to sign up for a 6-month free trial of Office 365. Again, if you haven't already done so, I recommend you sign up for Office 365 before starting the transition. Each of those links is also included on the home page of your Office Live account. You'll see right here you can download the transition guide. And down here is the link to sign up for Office 365. While we're in here, I wanted to make a note about your email addresses. So if you have email addresses in Office Live, you'll want to recreate those same exact email addresses in Office 365 before you move your domain over. This will ensure that once mail starts flowing to your Office 365 account, it'll have the appropriate mailboxes set up to receive that email. On the Domain Manager page, this is where we're going to begin moving the domain. We'll start by clicking, this is the domain that I'm going to remove, and we'll start by clicking Move Domain. This step will begin the process of transitioning your domain to Melbourne IT. To begin with, enter an email address twice to verify that it's entered correctly. MIT, as part of this process, will send you an email with a link in it that you'll need to click. So make sure that this is an email account that you can get into. Once you enter the email, click Complete. And this is a confirmation that the domain was transferred to Melbourne IT. So you can click Close on this page. And go to the email address that you entered, and you'll see that here's the email I just received from MIT. We'll go ahead and open up that email, and if we scroll down, you'll see that they provided a link in here that we need to click on to continue the process. So go ahead and click on that link. Click Show Content here. And this is a web page on Melbourne IT's site. So to prove that we're humans, we enter in this code. Click Continue. To activate your MIT account, confirm that the information they have on file is correct. If not, this is a good time to go ahead and correct it. As part of this process, you'll need to create a username and password for accessing your Melbourne IT account. Go ahead and enter that information. And when you're done, scroll down to the bottom, select this checkbox, and click Activate. This process might take a moment or so. Okay, so we're complete. Our account with MIT has been set up. At this point, we want to go ahead and activate the DNS on the domain. So click on Manage Domain Names. Click on the domain that was just transferred over. If we scroll down here, we'll see a link that says Activate DNS. Click on that link. Select I agree, and then select Enable DNS. That's completed. Now we'll click back on Manage Domain Names at the top here. Select the domain again. Scroll down, and if it still says that the DNS is being activated, just wait a few moments. That might take a minute or two. If you don't want to hang by and refresh the page, you can just wait until you get an email from MIT. They will actually send you an email once the DNS activation is complete, as you can see here. But in my case, it's already been completed. So we're going to click on Manage DNS. And we're going to click this button, Redelegate Now. Now, at this point, I'm going to copy that domain, and I'm going to click over to Office 365. So this is the Office 365 account that I set up to transition my information from Office Live to. And this is the main portal page. Right now we're going to go through and add the domain. So I'm going to click on Admin at the top. I'm going to select Domains. Let's click Add a Domain. And enter in the domain that you'll be transitioning from Office Live. Click Next. I'm going to select No on both of these options. The reason being is this wizard assumes that you haven't already created your email addresses in Office 365, and it'll give you the option to do that later on. But as part of the Office Live transition, you would have already come in here and created your users, and later on I'll show you how we're going to update those. Click Next. The first step in adding your domain is to confirm that you own the domain. So let's click on Start Step 1. I'll choose Melbourne IT and click Next. This step here instructs you step by step how to create a text record at MIT to prove that you own the domain. So what we're going to do is copy this value, and we'll switch back to Melbourne IT's website. I'm going to scroll down and click on Manage DNS, and this will open up MIT's DNS Management UI, and you can see there's an area here for text records. For the host name, I'm just going to enter an @ symbol, and I'm going to paste in the value I copied from the Office 365 website. I'm going to click Add. This gives us a status that it's publishing. And this process may take a moment or two. I'm going to refresh the page to see if it's completed. And we can see that it has been completed. Okay. So we can switch back to Office 365, scroll down to the bottom, and click this Done Verify Now button. And this will make an internet query to see if that text record that we just created exists. Great. Domain has been verified, so we'll click on Next. And this will give us an opportunity to update the existing Office 365 email addresses. So you remember that previously, as part of the transition guide, you came in and created all the email addresses for your current from Office Live. This step will automatically go and update those to use your domain that you just added. So we'll start step 2. And I only had one account that I had previously created, and what this is telling me is that the email address it's currently set to is admin@olsbtest1.onmicrosoft.com, and it's going to change it to admin@brucetestdomain.com, which is the domain we just added. So let's click Next. That is completed. We'll click Next again. So because I just changed the account that I was signed in with, I need to sign in with I need to sign out and then sign back in with that account using the new domain name. So I'll go ahead and I'll click Sign In with a different user ID, and I'll enter the email address that I just transitioned it to. And you can see that we haven't quite completed the domain flow, so we'll click on Add Users to Office 365. And if you had any additional users that you wanted to create at this time, you could select this, and this will give you the opportunity to do so. But for now, I'm going to click on No and click on Next. And to complete the process, we're going to go to step 4. We can choose Melbourne IT again. So in this process, what we're going to do is we're going to change the name server records that your domain uses to Office 365 name servers. Name servers are like a phone book. They contain a list of domain name addresses, and they map those to IP addresses. So it's stuff that it's easy for us to remember, like a domain name versus an IP address or a phone number. And by using Office 365's name servers, Office 365 can create all the DNS records necessary for your email and for your website and for document sharing, etc. It's a lot easier than you having to go out and create these on your own. So we're going to copy these values down below here. We're going to go back into Melbourne IT's UI. We'll click on Manage Domain Names. Click on the domain name again. Scroll down towards the bottom, and we'll click Cancel DNS. And click Yes, I'm sure on this confirmation. And you'll see down the bottom here that the cancellation is in progress. This could take a few moments. While we're here, we'll click on Redelegate Domain Name. And this is where we're going to paste in the value that you copied from Office 365's webpage. So all we need to do is put in the host name. We don't need to enter the IP address. The primary server is ns1.bdm.microsoftonline.com. And we're going to enter in a secondary name server, which is essentially the same, except it's ns2. Make sure all the other boxes are left blank. Once you're done, click Continue. And you can see down here as a confirmation that your domain is now configured to use the DNS servers from Office 365. At this point, we can click back to Office 365, scroll to the bottom, and click Done, Go Check. This just confirmed that the entries you created were created successfully. We can click on Finish. At this point, your domain is now added and it's ready for use, and any inbound mail to your email addresses will be flowing into your Office 365 email. If you also wanted to host your website with Office 365 and you've already created your website, to wire your domain up to your website, click on Domains. And at the top of the page you can see your SharePoint hosted website by default is hosted on one of our domains, sharepoint.com. If you'd like to change it to your domain, click Change Address and select your domain from the drop-down box, and then click OK. And once you're done, click Close. And again, this could take a few moments for the change to fully take effect, but once it has taken effect, the address shown here will be www.whateveryourdomainwas.com. Then you'll know that it's been completed. Again, it could take a couple of minutes, but once it's completed, your website will now render on that domain. And that's it. So your website and your email are hooked up, and you're ready to go. Enjoy.